CARCAST podcast. It's a podcast we can talk cars. Today I'm here with Jake Douglas. We'll both go to Rhode Island College. We're going to talk about some cars. So let's first talk about what kind of cars do you like? Jake, what do you drive?
Well, first of all, Savion, thank you for having me tonight, and glad we were able to figure out all the software and stuff like that going into this. And I drive a 2003 Cadillac DeVille. So most people might be familiar with a Cadillac, that it's like, grand, and more or less today is now known as a grandfather car or a grandparent's car, because it's kind of lost its eloquence that it had in America's pastime, and everybody wants, Subarus or, foreign Euro cars. But I have a little bit of taste and towards American cars and model making, especially for GM. So I decided, especially since it was in my price range as a college student, to get something that was a luxury car and still have a little bit of power to it.
Yeah, that's fantastic. The thing with Cadillac, correct? You said you got a Cadillac?
Yes, sir.
Cadillac, there's that the name carries a lot of weight. Cadillac. Back in the day, you had the Cadillac of refrigerators, the Cadillac of kitchen stoves. It signified the best. Well, in today's world, Cadillac has gone down. General Motors is the big umbrella of, it's a huge conglomerate, and it owns many different subsidiaries like Cadillac, Chevy, GMC. They used to own Pontiac. They used to own Saab.
I think they had Saturn too before Saturn went under.
And Saturn, yes, they did own Saturn. That's the one I was missing.
Yeah.
I may have missed one more, but hey, who cares? So General Motors quality has dropped over the years. In the new 2021 models, you can see, I've heard stories of their engines blowing up. There's 2020 models, their engines blowing up, oil dilution, transmission problems. There's a lot of electronic issues with those cars, and Cadillac is just a fancy Chevy. It's the same. They're the same company. It's similar to how Honda owns Acura. Acura is the fancy Honda. It's a name brand. Cadillacs, it's not very good anymore. It's an American luxury car. And if you really want an American luxury car, I would stick to Lincoln. Lincolns are pretty solid. They're for the fancy Fords. It's Fords. Ford built strong. Their most popular selling vehicle is the Ford F-150. It's America's favorite truck. It's the number one vehicle on the road. They're everywhere, absolutely everywhere. And I'm sure that, Jake, you can account for that. You see Ford trucks, old and new, all over the place. Am I right?
Yeah. I mean, GM itself has realized that America does no longer want, to flaunt their size of the vehicle or flaunt the power and elegance of the inside cabin. People want hatchbacks now. People want smart cars. People want electric cars. And so they soon dropped off of their quality in trying to, almost crowd please the public by switching over in the early 1990s to 2000s. They started switching over, and that was my car, the DeVille, was the last of the line where they started calling it a name. If you're familiar with Cadillac history, I could give you a brief one if you're not, but my car specifically, the DeVille. So the DeVille comes from the French term de la ville, which ville meaning of the town. So it's the car of the town. Again, it's grand, and you want to pile in your, 5-person family to go on a picnic on a Sunday or something after church. That's what the DeVille stood for. And the grandfather of my car is the Cadillac Coupe DeVille. It's just, the colorations of the car, the size itself, and again, because we're thinking American luxury in the 60s, 70s, we want people to be comfortable. We want people to have amenities that other cars wouldn't have. So that being, of the time, people smoked a lot. So there would be ashtrays in the back seats and ashtrays in the front seats. It'd have to have the best sound quality, so they would partner up with whatever top sound design and speakers were of the day. And again, that classic fin, that Cadillac, Insignia, that's just what it is.
Oh yeah, back in the 50s, the fin wars on the taillights
Yeah.
back in the day. But you were going on about your car?
Yeah, so I'll just give you a little specs of my car. So the wheelbase, for people who don't know what the wheelbase is, it's literally like what the base of the wheel is from the ground to the top of the wheel, is 129.49 inches. So about standard for any car that's a sedan. The length is 224.69 inches. Quick maths in feet, that's 17 and a half feet, which is the size of a small pickup truck nowadays. So that's a bit, it's still a big car. It's still Cadillac. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You get the big vehicles. You could fit a lot of people in them. Got a huge trunk.
Yeah.
And you mentioned wheelbase as the height. I thought maybe you meant to say from axle to axle.
Yeah, that's what I meant to say. My bad.
No problem.
And yeah, with that said, the turning radius is huge. You know, that thing, it's almost like steering a bus or a big van, you know?
Yeah, you can go about 3 inches and then it starts to turn. It's very, very wafting.
Yes.
And soft, and it's no race car by any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah.
Now, speaking of race cars, my car that I own a 2016 Honda Civic, the base model.
Mm-hmm.
Now, everyone knows the Civic. They're everywhere. They're these little puddle jumping rice rockets back in the day, but today they've got more luxurious and larger. I don't know the specs for mine, but it's a compact sedan. It's like a Toyota Corolla. I'm sure anyone out there who can relate can understand the size of the car.
Yeah.
But I got mine in black. Got 158 horsepower, about 150 pound-feet of torque, 2,700 pounds. And I made a few upgrades to it. I upgraded the headlights, if the Type R, that's the race car version of the Honda Civic, and it's a very fast car. It starts at 37 grand. They're not giving them away, but I have the same headlight assemblies that are found on the Type R. It really gives a sharp, bejeweled design, and it's these white LEDs, and I'm a big fan of trying to make my car look luxurious. But the Honda Civic's pretty quick. It handles very well. You know, Honda started off as a motorcycle company back in the 70s. Early back in the day, they started off as a motorcycling company, so they know how to handle it well. You know, if you want to have a affordable car, but you want to have some fun, get a Honda Civic. If you want a car that's going to last, that's not going to be as fun, but last a long time, you want to get a Toyota Corolla. Corollas are boring. The Honda Civics are a little bit more fun. They're both excellent cars and will last a very long time. Hence why I bought one. I got it for 14 grand with 24,000 miles. It's been my car for about 2 years, year and a half, 2 years now. And no problems with it. All maintenance I do it myself, because it's incredibly easy to do maintenance on a car when you know what you're doing. Stay tuned for more videos coming about how to maintain your vehicle. But the Civic's a great car. It's no Rolls Royce. It's kind of bumpy, a little stiff, but man, it's a point A to point B vehicle that is fairly nice inside. A few little amenities, nothing much. It doesn't have rear AC. It is, after all, the base model. You're going to end up spending in 2021 about 29 grand, $28,000 for the top of the end Honda Civic Touring with 172 horsepower, 1.5 liter engine, and a turbocharger. But you'll have leather seats and stuff that you just, college kids, we just want a point A to point B and look good for some people. I know, Jake, yours is a pimp mobile. Tell me a bit more.
Yes. So as far as, like, let's continue down the line for specs, like you were talking about the engine and stuff like that. My car, I mean, if you talk to anybody that loves the environment, they would hate me, because I got a 4.6 liter V8 engine. The MPG is 18 in the city and 26 on the highway.
Oh, hang on. Let me interrupt you to tell you mine. So I drive incredibly conservative. Honda gives you a eco mode. It's called eco mode on Hondas, and a little green leaf appears on your dashboard when you press it or push of a button in your gauge cluster, and it lowers the RPMs a little bit so you can get a bit more better gas mileage, especially when you're cruising on the highway. I'm pushing about 37 miles a gallon. I've gotten 40 at one point, but yeah, it's a long stretch from your in the teens for you.
Yeah, I can stretch my highway to maybe 29, but that's like if I have cruise control on and I'm not going like, above, like way above the speed limit, that's suggested. But the V8, you gotta love a V8 because once they turn up and they get hot, they stay hot. So like, I could go probably 0 to 60 in about 7 seconds, which, people don't think, oh, 7 seconds, big whoop. But like for a car that weighs 2 tons, right? It's 4,049 pounds. So that's 2 tons. For a car that weighs 2 tons, goes 0 to 60 in 7 seconds, and it's 290 horsepower max. I think it's pretty good. You get a little bit of luxury and you get a little bit of oomph in your engine. A lot of people are satisfied with the inline V4 or a V6 if they choose a sportier version, because I know that the Honda Civic Si has a V6 option. So if you wanted to have a little bit more sportiness but still have that point A to point B car, you can have the V6, and the V6 is nice.
Yeah, V6s, you won't have as much power, but with a larger engine like the V8, it's a physically larger mass under the hood, which renders it a bit more tricky to work on because there's less working room. There's also more components, Cadillac, V8, you gotta worry about the quality a little bit because it is Cadillac, but it's still a fast car. Do you know the torque for your vehicle?
Let me see. I
It's got to be
believe
like 200, maybe. I have no idea. Let's see.
like high end 200, 285 to 300. I looked in my instruction like manual booklet or whatever that it comes with, which most people don't even do that nowadays. Like,
Yeah.
who has time for that? You could just Google it on your phone, But one time I was like trying to figure out the features that I wasn't able to like word correctly on Google, because you have to be like, when you Google something vaguely, you find exactly what you want. But then sometimes when you specifically look for something on Google, it doesn't pop up for some reason.
No.
So I was looking at my instruction and there's like, oh, you can tow things with this thing. I was like, geez, I never thought about I never thought of putting a tow hitch on, my car because it's a sedan. You don't normally tow things with, a car. Like I'd see it with SUVs, you could see it with Jeeps, trucks, but a sedan is kind of odd to like tow something. But because that engine's so powerful, it can do that.
Yeah, I think I don't know for sure, but I think your vehicle is body on frame, which means that the body is separate from the frame of your car. So it gives you a bit more comfort and ride, because the body with the wheels are moves, and then the frame, which is what you're sitting on, stays, it's independent. So it's a bit more complicated, but it's also, I think it rides better. But your vehicle, you got a truck engine in your car, so yeah, it can tow, and you'd be surprised. I looked online, I saw a little Honda Civic like mine with a tow hitch, and it's like, well, you can't pull much, but if theoretically you could pull with a little Honda Civic. But your car, you could pull, you could pull a trailer if you want. Not too heavy. You got to understand that they're limited to certain amounts of weight, but you could still tow, and it's nice being able to have the versatility to be able to go fast, drive comfortably, and tow.
Exactly. You know what I mean? That's the thing. And you as a college student, because like, both of us are in college, stuff like that. When you're looking for a car, maybe we can do another segment about this later, like comparing prices of cars for students that are like looking to buy their first car and they're in college, or maybe they just graduated high school, that type of thing. But for me, I had small savings. I knew that my budget was very low on the end. Like most people could probably drop down out of pocket like $4,000 for a first car. And that, and then maybe like their parents help them out a little bit, or they get a car loan, you know what I mean? For something that's like decent. If you've ever been onto Car Gurus or Carfax, I see like a good mid-range car that has low mileage is like $8,000. You know what I mean? So between $5,000 and $8,000. I could only slap down like $2,000. And so that's what car came up. I was just like, I wanted a Honda Civic. I really enjoy the Civic. Like you said, it's a good point A to point B car. It looks kind of stylish on the outside. It's a little bit sporty, but it's also a little bit comfortable too, because they have like different options. Like you can not just get like a felt or cloth interior, but you can get leather interior, that type of thing. You know what I mean? And you can mod it too. You know, just because they're known for ricers doesn't mean you could rice it in a, you know, not annoying way.
Yeah, the kids love to soup them up. My car, I'm sort of, I got an opposite mindset to most students my age. I am sort of, I don't know if mature is the correct word to describe how I feel about cars, but I don't want my car to go fast. I want it to ride luxurious.
Yeah.
People are chrome deleting their cars, which is removing chrome. You can remove it and you can put black on where the chrome is, because some people hate chrome. I personally like it. It's when it's tasteful, it's, you know, very appealing to look at. I just bought some chrome door handles for my car. It was $16. The chrome door handle covers I got on Amazon. So I'm not really getting chrome door handles, but you know, like a college student, we're on a budget, trying to get some luxury for cheap. So, you know, my engine is a iVTEC engine. Everyone knows the Honda Civic VTEC engine, and it really shines when it's in high RPMs. Now I'll get to the RPMs in a second, but with my car, you get hubcaps. Okay, no, they got some stylish hubcaps. I got a 2016. That's when the new design of the whole car changed. You know, what came with new hubcaps and stuff. So the car is stiff when it rides, but you know, I modded my headlights. That was the most expensive thing I did to the car, but the headlights look very cool. Like I said, I call them the bejeweled headlights because they're white LED and they look like shards of crystal in the front. And then, like I said, it is aftermarket, but it's not aftermarket. It's not like it exists on the top end trim of the Civic. The Touring model has the same headlight assemblies, the same design. And the Type R also has the same design. So it's not like I got some aftermarket thing that's different. These exist. It makes my car look more luxurious because I'm imitating the most luxurious version of the car. That's how I like to think. So I would love to get rims one day, but rims are expensive. But these hubcaps they're all right. But going back to my engine, for the first time, I achieved what I call VTEC speed on my car. Now the Honda Civic has a sport gear. You put it into sport gear and you can go faster. It starts it off at a higher RPM when you start. So I was going on a straightaway and I was feeling a bit excited, so to speak. I was happy. I was energetic. So I kicked into sport. My vehicle operating temperature was good. You don't want to beat on a cold engine. So I waited. I drove around a little bit. So I floored it. Achieved wide open throttle, and it was so cool because I knew that this happened, but it was really interesting seeing in my car. It's a Honda Civic. It went faster when it got to high RPMs, and I knew about this, but it was really neat experiencing it because I don't drive fast. Like I said, I'm trying to push 40 miles a gallon on my car. I drive like a grandma. I don't accelerate fast. I don't do anything fast. I drive incredibly cautious, and if anything happens, I have a dash cam.
Nice.
Not just a dash cam that captures the front, the cabin, and the one that goes all the way around to the back windshield, so I could see if anyone rear ends me.
That's a good investment. Yeah,
it's not cheap.
No, they're not, but yeah, they're a good investment. I wish I had that because actually over the summer, I was delivering pizzas, and they don't give you a car. In some places, they'll give you a car to drive to deliver, but this particular company, I cannot talk about it for legal reasons. No, I'm just kidding. But I don't want to out them. But anyway, I was driving, and the stuff you see when you're driving around just like by yourself or whatever in traffic every day is one thing. But when you're like trying to specifically like find a street number or a house number, you pay more attention to detail. And like when you're driving, they're like, oh, I need to make sure that this pizza doesn't get messed up and I don't get messed up. So you drive like hyper focused, right? And the accidents that I would see that would almost happen or do happen were insane. And like, again, that's where the dash cam does really come in handy, especially if it's going to happen to you, because, you know, a lot of companies, if you're going to deliver for them, they're like, oh, if you mess up the food, that comes out of your pocket. So it's like, you don't want to lose insurance money on your car or money on the product that you're trying to deliver too. So that was smart that you got that.
Yeah, again, they're not cheap, but you want to be able to capture something for insurance purposes when the time unfortunately comes, whether it's you or you have footage to help support an accident that happened in front of you.
Yeah.
You'd be a great Samaritan if you pull over and hand them your footage to the police, and then I don't know if there's a good Samaritan bonus or something, but I'm sure that just being able to help is really nice. I mean, the reason why I got it was for security purposes, but I see some stuff on the highway that I describe to a friend or coworker or family member,
Yeah.
and it would be so easy if I could just show them what happened because it's that amazing.
Yeah.
But you can't. It's dangerous to pull your phone out while you're driving and record, and you might miss it.
Exactly.
So you don't want to do that.
Yeah, you'll end up in an accident yourself if you're like, oh, I gotta pull out my phone and drive. You know what I mean? Like, no, that we have a classmate actually that does that.
Yeah, so they got a lot of interesting stories about cars. So next week when we meet again, the topic is stories about crazy events with your car. We're going to talk about some crazy stories we have with our car, with people, mechanic shops. We're just going to talk cars next week on Friday, 6 o'clock. And you're welcome to join. And we can have a CARCAST podcast. Until then, be good. And I'll catch you guys later.